I mean, yeah, you're right. The film industry here in America is dying, and you're not gonna make it any better. So happy I got out of the industry when I did. Yeah. Hello, this is Daniel Mart back again. I'm an actor and filmmaker based out of South Florida, and for this video, we're gonna get a little bit political. I don't want to do it. I don't like to do it. We have to get political because Donald Trump, our great president, Donald Trump, has just said that he wants to impose a 100% tariffs on any made foreign films. What the hell does that mean? Look, I don't want to get political here. I don't care to get political here. But I am not a fan of Donald Trump. And especially this second go around in his presidency, I'm even less of a fan of him. During his first go around, during his first term, I was like, okay, cool, whatever, he's president. He's not the best, he's not the worst, but it is what it is. Okay? He ended his presidency. The way he ended his presidency, we got Joe Biden. I'm not going to comment on Biden right now. And then we got Trump again. And I knew that when Trump was going to become president, stuff was going to go down, and it wasn't going to be good. And so far, we've been seeing how it's not been good with some of the other stuff that he's done with the other tariffs and all the immigration stuff. This video is not. I'm not going to discuss that in this video. I have no intentions of discussing that. I don't care to discuss it, but I do have my thoughts on it, and that's all I'm going to say. That being said, there was maybe a foolish, naive part of me that's like, he'll never touch movies. He has no reason to touch movies. What does it matter if he touches movies? Okay? Well, he's touching movies. And yeah, his excuse is that it's because American films aren't being made anymore, or not to the extent that they were back in the good old days, so to speak, and that we need to bring back American films again. Not gonna lie, that general statement, I agree with it. Yeah, it would be nice to see American films made again, especially how they used to be like back in the 70s and 80s, back in the times of New Hollywood, back when you had all these great directors, full force, just making one incredible film after another, after another, after another. I would say that in recent decades, the American film industry has kind of died a bit. At least the big studio industry has, with the big major blockbuster studios like Sony, Universal, Disney, all those big studios, Warner Brothers, especially Warner Brothers. In that respect, I do think it has kind of died a bit. When it comes to the independent side of cinema, with like A24, Neon, Blumhouse, for example, Lionsgate, because yes, Lionsgate technically is an independent studio, like stuff like that. No, I think that aspect of the industry is actually very well done. They're surviving. So I guess in some respects, I do agree with that general statement that yes, American cinema has died a bit, especially in a few recent decades. And yes, emphasis on decades. That being said, I don't think imposing a 100% tariffs on all foreign-made films, especially in this industry, is going to help our case. I mean, the film industry as a whole has had it rough for the past couple years, okay? We got hit with the pandemic. And that killed the industry across the world, point blank and period. Then the U.S. had to deal with SAG-AFTRA and the strikes. And it wasn't just SAG-AFTRA, it was also the writer's strikes. There was also the video game strikes that were in tandem with us. IATSE's had a series of strikes as well. So there's been just strikes after strikes after strikes between 2021 and 2023. Okay? And not gonna lie, despite what Crabtree and Francis Drescher want to say, no, you guys still screwed us over, and I'm still pissed off about that. And I'll get to Crabtree in a bit, because guy's a joke. So it just occurred to me that I actually never commented on Crabtree again. So long story short, Duncan, the Fool, Crabtree, John Voight, and I hear Gavin Newsom's also in the conversation. They're all trying to, in their own ways, trying to negotiate with Donald Trump. Gavin Newsom, he's trying to bring back incentives into the U.S. so that we don't get completely screwed, but doesn't really seem like he wants to do that. Trump wants to do that. It seems like John Voight is the main person who proposed this for some reason, but his career is dead, so I guess might as well screw over the rest of Hollywood, including his daughter, so why not? And Crabtree, he's trying to play the middleman, but like we all saw how you played the middleman, you goddamn fool, worthless sack of crap. You screwed us over, so thank God you're going to screw us all over again. Thank you. Let me bend over right now. So yeah,
never got back to it. So yeah, hopefully Gavin Newsom is able to talk some sense into these people, but that's not gonna happen. So yeah.
But whatever. We got screwed over, even more so because they don't know how to protect us as actors. They just cared about their money and they moved on, not really caring about the common man, and they allowed AI to infest our film industry. Fantastic. Okay? That aside, we have no reason to have a 100% tariffs on foreign made films. On top of that, the way filmmaking is done, even if a film is shot here in America, like let's say Honora takes place in what, New York? Even though that basically takes place in New York, I'm pretty sure there's stuff being done in other countries because of the way post-production works. That's how most films are made. There's post-production companies are sometimes stationed outside the US, even if it's in Canada or Mexico. Maybe it's in the UK, Greenland. I mean, not a country, but still. Greenland, France, Italy, Japan, China, doesn't matter. Who cares? Somewhere else in the world. There's always some aspect of post-production that's done outside the US. So then, why am I mentioning this? Because then, what the hell is considered a foreign film? An international film. Granted, if a film is fully funded and made in France, like The Substance, okay, cool, that basically makes sense. But if it's something that is made in another country and brought here through a distribution company, let's say through A24, is that considered a foreign film at that point? Who knows? That's the thing. A lot of films, basically, I would gamble to say that basically 90% of all films across the world take place or are made in at least 2 different countries, whether it be co-produced by 2 different countries, whether it be filmed in one location and the post-production takes place in another location, whether the casting is done in one country and it's filmed everywhere else, including post-production. I gamble to say that at least 2 countries are always involved in any which way for any film and production. Straight up. So therefore, what is considered a foreign film? Which is why I say a 100% tariff is going to kill, further murder the film industry. It's like, my guy, I know you were in Home Alone 2. That's it. You had your apprentice, the show. Cool, that's it. Nobody wants you in the film industry. Nobody wants you anywhere, period. Point blank and period. Generally speaking, but that's a whole different discussion, which I'm not going to get into. But yeah, you should not be in the film. Don't involve films. Please. Like, it's ridiculous. And honestly, the way he explained these tariffs is completely vague. Especially more so because of how films are made. Again, like I said, every film, at least, I will gamble to say, takes place in some respects in 2 different countries. Whether it be filming and post-production, pre-production and filming, and post-production. Even if it's like, hey, we're going to do everything here, the editing, everything, filming, everything, but we need 1 special effects shot. Can we get that done from somebody like in South Africa? Cool. Got it? Okay, cool. Does that now become a foreign film? Like, what are the metrics here? And that's the other thing. He has not set up the metrics for this at all. And it just baffles me that this is what's going to happen. Now, there's no word as to when this is going to be implemented, but I'm going to guess at the earliest within the next 2 to 3 months, at the latest within the year, if it's even legal. Keyword there. If it's even legal. Because here's the thing. So in Chapter 50 USC 1702 Presidential Authorities, these are the codes of the law, essentially. Best way to word it. It says here in Section A, 1, at the time and to the extent specified in Section 1701 of this title, the President may, under such regulations as he may prescribe by means, instructions, license, or otherwise, investigate, regulate, or prohibit any transaction of foreign exchange, a transfer of credits, or payments between, by, through, or to any banking institutions, to the extent that such transfers or payments involved any interest of any foreign country or a national thereof, the importing or exporting of currency or securities. So that's why he's doing all these tariffs, not just for this, but for like medicine and goods, car goods, all that. That's where he's getting this. Basically, calling it under a national emergency and all that. That's the other stuff that he's getting by with doing tariffs. So why am I showing you this? Because this particular law, I'm not sure about like how you would word this law, documents, grants, whatever, does have a section of exceptions, which here you go. I want you to take a look at number 3, section 3, specifically. The importation from any country or the exportation to any country, whether commercial or otherwise, regardless of format or medium of transmission of any information or informational material, including but not limited to publication, films, posters, phonography, records, photographs, microfilms, microfiche, tapes, compact discs, CD-ROMs, artwork, and newswire feeds. The export is exempted from regulation or prohibition by this. Essentially, if he puts a tariff on this is technically illegal, just straight up, because films and microfilms, and I'm gonna extend it a little bit further to photographs and posters, maybe CDs. I don't know where DVDs really fits in there, DVDs and Blu-rays and 4Ks, but let's say CDs of some capacity would fall under this. So therefore, for him to even make a tariff on this is actually illegal. Now granted, wouldn't be the first time Donald Trump has circumvented laws or just not cared about them and still done it anyways, but technically speaking, this is illegal. Straight up. He cannot put tariffs on movies. He could put tariffs on automobiles. He could put tariffs on medicine. He could put tariffs on anything else. But realistically speaking, and legally speaking, he is not legally allowed to put tariffs on films. Films, TVs, commercials, a goddamn TikTok, doesn't matter. He is not allowed to put a tariff on them. So this shouldn't even be allowed to begin with. So again, it baffles me that this is even a possibility. Then again, as seen with some of his other comments, it doesn't really seem like he knows the laws, or if he does, he just doesn't care for the laws because he's still doing a bunch of illegal stuff. Look at the Garcia case, for example, the Abrego Garcia case. You know, you have the ability to bring him back, and you don't want to. You quite literally have said you want to bring him back. That you can bring him back. Sorry. That you can bring him back, and yet you also don't want to. Even though the Supreme Courts are telling you, hey, bring him back right now, and your kids are like, yeah, no. Even though you don't have a case against him. But, you know, yeah, that's just the world we live in right now. Yeah, that's basically it for your daily dose of news and chaos. Don't want to get political, but this is the world we live in, so yeah, it is what it is. This is Daniel Mart, signing off. God help us.